amazing.
Oh, thank you. This is your room. If you need anything, I'll be upstairs.
Thank you. So, Ms.
Please, call me Vera.
Hello, I'm Sophia Jessica, and welcome to the Fan Carpet.
All right, so it's wonderful to see you again, Mike. How are you today?
I'm good, considering trying to be as responsible as possible, as a lot of people are, and we're fortunate to have a garden, so just spending some time getting some sun, and just feeling very thankful that I've got a space to be able to go outside and just kind of unwind a little bit.
Absolutely. All right, so if we go back to the beginning, was there a defining moment for you to get into the film industry?
I kind of just I've always kind of been an extrovert, I guess, and I was surrounded by it with family members that are in the industry, and they very much kind of inspired me to, I guess, get. When I was younger, I didn't really know what I wanted to, at what sort of platform or what level I wanted to kind of go into the industry. But I was always drawn to a camera. I look back at a lot of birthday parties, and I was always the one at the front doing the stupid thing, when everybody else was very organised at the back, sat there, making sure that, we all got seen. And I think it was a lovely. I had a lovely childhood, and very much part of my dad being a musician, and like I say, my family being very sort of that artsy sort of cloth, I guess. So maybe it was a way that all sort of subconsciously helped me kind of find a direction in life.
Right. Great. Yeah, absolutely. How did you first get involved with the host, and what can you tell me about your involvement in the production?
Yeah, so it would kind of happen very organically, and sort of, when these sort of things happen, they're really wonderful. And I'd worked with a friend of mine called Ashley on. She was an on-set photographer on another movie that I did, and I was on my way back to Gloucestershire, where I'm from, to see friends, and I had a message from her to say, look, you're going to get a phone call in about 2 hours. Can you make sure you pick it up, because it's a producer who's doing a movie, and they're very interested in having you as a lead. And I was like, okay, well, how did that come about? And Ashley had put my name forward because we had just worked together on another movie, and so there I was on my way to Oxford to change trains, and Zach, the producer, sent me the script through and said, look, give it a read as best you can before I give you a call. And I did whilst I was on the train. And then I was outside the Eagle and Child pub in Oxfordshire, which is very well known for where J.R. Tolkien kind of came up with the concept of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
A wonderful kind of old English pub. And the phone went, and it was Zach. And we just chatted there, and he was so passionate and enthusiastic about the project, and very much, knew what direction he wanted to go on it, tonally, and where he wanted to go. And that really does resonate with you when you meet somebody that's speaking very passionately about a project. And so we just hit the ground running from there. And then we were able to work things out, and that was that, and then that was it. I was signed on to the project.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. I suppose it is a case of right place, right time in that sense.
Yeah, it was a huge compliment for somebody that I'd worked with, Ashley, to put my name forward and get me on a radar. I think I'm so grateful to her for that, because sometimes that's what you need. And it worked out, which was lovely. It didn't feel like it was forced. It just felt as if it was right, and when you get that feeling, you've got to go with it,
Absolutely. And obviously, when you're getting in the mindset of Rob, was there any particular research that you had to do?
It wasn't. You always research a role, but it's kind of. I wanted it to be Rob to be the human element of the story. I wanted the audience to kind of, when they watch it, to feel as if they've been in that situation where you're wired up one way because of circumstance, and then you come to this kind of crossroads where you need to make a decision, and do you always go with the decision that you've made, which is in Rob's case not always the right one, or do you perhaps try something new with the right intentions? And I think we've all been in that situation where, you know, you kind of think to yourself, what shall I just play it safe and do what I've always done, or shall I try something different? And so because we've all kind of been in that sort of situation, that, you know, and I know I certainly have on a few occasions when I was younger, for sure. That was the important aspect of it, was just to make it human, make him human, make him relatable, I guess. So yeah, there was some research to be done, but a lot of it's drawing on your own experience a lot of the time when it comes to acting.
Right. Yeah, because he does some quite questionable things, especially in the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it was still an enjoyable watch.
I think the kind of concept is that, you know, you can just because you make wrong decisions, it doesn't make you a bad person. You know, I think that's really important. I think that, you know, we kind of, you can make a bad decision with the best intentions. Yeah. And I feel like Rob probably does that quite a lot. And I think we've all probably done that at some stage, perhaps. So yeah, that was kind of what we wanted to get across. Okay.
That's cool. Like this is like the host is in the crime thriller mystery genre.
Yeah.
Are there any genres that you prefer, or and any favorite films?
Wow. I mean, I'm quite, my kind of philosophy as an actor is to show as much of the spectrum as I can. So I don't kind of have a specific genre. I've done a bit of horror. I've done some sci-fi action. I've done a horror thriller in that. I've done. So I kind of want to, from an actor's perspective, cover as much and show as much of a diverse range as I possibly can. In terms of sitting down and watching movies, not really. No, I kind of just go with what I'm in the mood for. You know, some of my favorite films like Drive with Ryan Gosling and, as you know, one of for me a fantastic film on every level. Carey Mulligan, obviously. But then you've got horror movies like The Exorcist, which is my favorite, which is, you know, for a child actor to put in a performance like she did, and with those with that context and with that theme, it's just incredible, you know. And then you've got comedies as well, which are fun, and like Raising Arizona is a comedy that I absolutely love. A very young Nicolas Cage doing his thing. So yeah, I kind of don't specifically have a favorite genre. I like to appreciate film for what it is, and yeah, it's very interesting. Just, it's a wonderful art form.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, it gives me hours of joy. I'm not an actor. I've just always loved film. Very early on, before I was doing this, my career was actually supposed to be working for Aardman up in Bristol.
Really?
That was what my original career path was going to be. I was going to be an animator.
Wow.
But I joined the first course that was doing animation at the time, and halfway through the course, I didn't want to specialize anymore. And then I fell into the film side of it when I got involved with my business partner. So yeah. And 14 years later, over 14 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. So,
amazing, man.
Which is great. Yeah,
that's incredible.
With the fan cup, I just found what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Just found what I enjoyed doing, and it kind of managed. I've met Nick Park and those guys over at Aardman, so it kind of, I can't like doing this. I kind of get to do everything. Kind of get to do it in a way.
You get your fixed.
Yeah, because I get to speak to them and get to interview them, especially for like Early Man and what else do I interview him for? Shaun the Sheep. So yeah, and like seeing the way that they make them is just fascinating. How they can bring, for all intents and purposes, an inanimate object to life, and they really do. And they do it. It is incredible, and it's just incredible.
When I was younger, I did some like as playing around with our camcorder at home. This was back in the day when, you know, camcorders were the size of a small town, and we did stop motion capture footage where you literally push record, move it, pause, move it a bit more, record, pause, move it a bit more, record, pause, move it a bit more. And we did it on a very, very sort of basic level. But even then, you could tell just the work that it involved to make a full movie, or even a company that produces movies of that caliber and in that sort of art form is just, incredible.
Oh yeah, you have to have a lot of patience for it.
Oh my goodness.
You really do. I remember at university, I made a 30-second like short film with stop motion.
Wow.
And it taught me. There was a lot of learning to be involved in that, because like I had one version of my character, which you don't do, because by the end of it he was a puddle of mush. Serious, honestly, because of how many times I had to move him, and like to get 30 seconds, it took over 3 hours to do it.
I think hats off to you, man, because our little things lasted about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So for you to do a 30-minute thing,
No, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. It wasn't.
Sorry,
30 minutes.
for it to take that, but for you to do 3 times what I did, big respect, man.
Yeah, thanks. It was a lot of fun though.
It
is a lot of fun. It's very therapeutic, and the results afterwards are just incredible. Especially when, afterwards, after I'd filmed it. It doesn't look all that great once you film it because it's. But then when they speed it up and they put it all together, it was great. It was just great. It was fun.
And we can't talk about this without mentioning Ray Harryhausen and the skeleton fight.
Absolutely.
I think we need to pay homage to that, because that. From an actor's perspective, to be kind of in that, but before all the green screens and stuff, and how they did that fight. To make it as great as they have done is just incredible.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Absolutely. There's a certain charm when it comes to like the tangible effects.
That's a lovely word, yeah.
Because it's you can just reach out and touch it, and it's just
magic.
great. It is absolutely. And I think that's one of the reasons that we enjoy what we do, because of the things that come out of it, and the creativity that are involved. Like, you don't have to have like a huge budget to be creative. In fact, a lot of the smaller budget things are more creative than a lot of the stuff that comes out of Hollywood these days.
I think people are being more creative, with the technology that we've got as well, Like I'm seeing it now, especially because obviously we need to keep ourselves entertained. But a lot of people are coming up with some wonderful things I'm seeing on the internet, and just not that they would normally do. They're just kind of thinking to themselves, well, I need that sort of creative sort of hit. And it's lovely to see, It
is, absolutely. Okay. Are there any other aspects of the film industry that you'd like to pursue?
No. In a way,
you just want to do acting?
Not right now. Acting is enough for me. Acting is a big enough challenge. It fulfills me enough. It's what ignites my soul. It's where my passion is. And I've got so much respect and admiration for people within the industry that spin so many plates, being a producer and a writer, and then maybe an actor as well, or a director and a writer and a producer, or, for me at this level right now, acting is enough. It fulfills me enough. Whether or not, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, I'd probably change that. I don't know. But right now, I'm very content with being an actor, for sure.
Great. Yeah. Following on from that, you have an eclectic range of credits. Are there any genres? I mean, I'm talking about genres again, but are there any genres that you haven't done yet that you'd like to?
It's a really good question, because it's such a an easy question to ask, but doesn't normally get asked. Yeah, I'd love to do something like a romantic comedy, something like that. Something of a lighter tone, because a lot of my stuff tends to be. I mean, we just finished filming Truth Seekers last year, which is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost's new TV show coming out on Amazon, and that's quite a light tone. I play a character called Bjorn in that, and it was just fantastic, the best experience I've had, and it was a lighter tone, and it was wonderful to be able to sort of have a little bit of a play around. We would. Working with my brother was obviously a career highlight for me, but also just sort of playing around because of the tone of the TV show. We were able to, Simon would come up to me and say, "Hey, Mike, try this," and I'd be like, "All right, okay," and then we'd try it, and it might work and it might not, but it wasn't getting into the sort of dark places that I had to with the host, with certain elements of the film of the host, There's one scene where afterwards, I think I cried for about a good 10, 15 minutes after, because I got such into an emotional dark place that it's quite hard it does drain you. So something of a lighter tone, I think I'd really sort of like to give it a go and try and flex my acting muscles in that genre. Yeah, but we'll see.
Obviously, we're working alongside your brother. He's rather well known, especially since Space. And everything that he's done since then. What's that dynamic like when you're working with him? Because you obviously approach things very differently.
We do, and obviously there's that added responsibility for me to make sure that I'm not just there presenting or representing myself. I'm there representing my brother as well, and so there's a bit of an added responsibility there. But he's such a wonderful guy and so talented that. He looked after me on the set. He knew this was my first sort of big TV show, or my first TV show, in fact. And he was just amazing. There was a moment when we were doing a read through for the crew, and the crew was huge. I looked up, and there was just crew everywhere, and they were brilliant. And then I hadn't really worked in a crew that size before. But then I looked over at Si, and he just kind of smiled and winked at me, and I just knew I was going to be all right. And, he just constantly looked after me the whole time. So the dynamic was very easy. And like I say, between takes, we would, he would come to me and say, "Look, try this or try that." And it really gave me that element of freedom. And it was lovely. Yeah, it was the best experience I've had up to date. And I've had some pretty amazing ones. So.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you when working on a TV show as opposed to a film, do you approach the projects differently, or do you just see them as like another outlet in a sense?
I think that the difference between TV and film is just kind of how quickly it moves when you're shooting it. So the preparation is very similar in terms of the approach, but I found that with TV, continuity is massive. Because it's so quick, the edits are so quick. You need to ensure that you're doing the same thing every single take, from the off. And with film, it's the same, but you can sometimes edit around it with film if perhaps it, if it doesn't fit. But with TV, you really can't. You need to make sure. So that was a great learning curve for me. I've always tried to be as a technical actor as I possibly can be. So in terms of things like continuity within every take. But it was a real eye-opener on a big TV show to just ensure that you made sure that for everybody else's sake, you did the same thing. And it was a wonderful learning curve. Really was just incredible.
Awesome. I've just got a couple more questions for you. Is there a book that you're a fan of that hasn't been adapted to film or TV or Netflix that you'd love to be a part of?
Really good question, that. Because I grew up on things like Lord of the Rings, and Peter Jackson did such an incredible job in transferring that to film, which is so hard. It really is difficult to get a screenplay from, in terms of, because I think with books, everybody has a picture of those characters in their head. And so it's based on how the writer and the director will perceive that, but that won't necessarily work for everyone. So it's very brave. But with Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings, I felt everything that he did on screen was how it was in my head when I was reading the books. which was testament to him. So a book. Oh God, that's a really good question, actually. Poof. That's such a good question. I can't think. I've got a mind dump. I've gone blank. What about you? Let's flip it on you. Is there
Okay.
any book that you would see me being a character in? Let's do that.
Wow.
No, that's
Wow.
cool. I'm joking. Any book that you would want to see now made into a film? What would?
The first book that comes to mind, I read it's a like a whodunit sort of thing that I read when I must have been about 10, I guess, when I read it. It's called The Hacker, and it's by an author called Mallory Blackman. And it's just an incredible story. I just couldn't put it down. So I would love to see that. That's called Hacker, and I would love to see that. I mean, it kind of moves along in a similar sort of way to Get a Clue, which is a DCOM, Disney Channel original movie. It kind of moves along like that. But yeah, I would love to see that tackled, because I think there's a lot of scope there. And the basic premise is that it's been a while since I read it, but I believe it was a microchip that gets stolen, and somebody gets framed for it. And then it's up to the kids to bring their father to justice, because he's wrongly accused. It was a great read. I haven't picked that up for a long time though.
Maybe you need to. I'm feeling like the passion right now. I'm feeling it coming through the screen.
I think
maybe pick it back up. There's no better time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got plenty of time on our hands. Absolutely. With the emergence of streaming services like Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus has just launched in this country. What do you think the future of cinema is?
Well, yeah, I just actually spoke to somebody about this as well. I like to try and stay as positive as possible. And I feel like when this has all been sorted, I think more people will go to the cinema. You know, cinemas will be full, restaurants will be full, pubs will be full. I think what this has done is it's really taken, or certainly for me, it's sort of highlighted to me what we take for granted. And, being able to just hop on the underground and go to the cinema or whatever. And all of a sudden, because that's not possible, it really does kind of resonate with me to say, geez, I need to do that more. Every aspect of, I think, life, I think everybody right now, everybody, how much now did we maybe take the NHS for granted? And now we're aware of just how incredible they do. And, but bringing it to our industry, I think there will be, there's some massive movies that have now been pushed back to 2021. And I feel like it hopefully will be a celebration of the cinematic art form, because streaming services are fantastic. They are incredible. And we really are in a golden era of TV, certainly streaming wise, because the productions and the writing and everything is just incredible. But there's always, I believe, going to be a place for cinema. I remember back in 1993 when I went to watch Jurassic Park, and sitting there in a room full of people, that energy, and just seeing this universe come to life. It was just, you can't, it's magic. And I feel like we could never lose that. And I feel that, I hope that cinema can just hang on in there whilst this happens. And then when it's past and we've got through it, then bosh, I think we'll really see some celebration in terms of cinema. At least I hope so.
Oh, absolutely. I think we will. And just speaking of Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg and what he did and his creative team with that first film was just incredible. Like, you can it's the tangibility again. You can reach out and touch those dinosaurs.
Oh, I mean, it was absolutely. I found it the perfect blend of CGI and animatronics. It was just done in such a way, and you can watch it now today, and what's this, like nearly 30 years later, and you can still be in awe of it. You can still sit there and be like, wow, if this was released today in cinemas, it would be blow people's minds. And I feel that's really important. Anything that kind of stands the test of time, which cinema has, will live long. I'm positive about that.
Absolutely. I mean, look what they were able to do with Dark Crystal just a year or so ago. That's just incredible. Because it's all puppetry, and
All
they
of it's
use
puppetry.
is all of it's puppetry. I was watching the behind the scenes documentary on it, which played after the series over on Netflix, and they use CGI, but only to accent what was already there.
That's right.
Like not to create characters in that, even though I do like that as well. Like creating characters. I mean, Andy Serkis did a wonderful job with Gollum in Lord of the Rings. But just to accent what's already there is just great. Yeah.
Yeah, when you find that blend, I feel like it really does bring everything to life, and I feel like that was certainly what happened on Jurassic Park, and to be now have that technology to bring sort of old school stuff that we perhaps grew up on to a new generation and do it in such a way is magical. And we keep coming back to that word, but it really is.
It is absolutely magical. So just before I let you go, what are you looking forward to getting back to once we're allowed to?
Just being back on set, mate. That's my happy place, and we've got a project called Waltzing with Brando that we were actually due to start shooting this month in Fiji, but that's been pushed back to August now, and that's a movie I'm doing with Billy Zane, the wonderful Billy Zane, who's going to portray Marlon Brando on screen for the first time. And it's a true life story about my character Bernard Judge, and written by Bill Fishman and directed by Bill Fishman. Basically, my character Bernard Judge is an architect, an LA architect who built the spherical dome in the LA hills and became very well known because it was so pioneering. And through different means, Brando got in contact, and then they come together to build this self-sustaining hotel, which has never been done before. You know, it's kind of before the big green movement, I guess. And it's this wonderfully written film about how these two characters, my character who's very analytical and scientific, and, you know, he's an architect, and Brando who's just Brando, you know, just who Billy's going to be absolutely incredible. These two worlds collide and come together for a good purpose, and it's wonderful. And so we think we're due to go to Fiji in August to do it, but I think that might even be pushed. So just being back on set, mate, would be wonderful. But the global health concern is the most important thing, and I wouldn't. I'm taking making the most of my downtime and not taking it for granted. And also, when we do get back on set and start filming, then that will be the right time. I wouldn't want it rushed. Yeah.
Absolutely. Obviously, that's a real life person. Do you find? And with the host, it's like somebody made up. Do you find a sense of responsibility when taking on that sort of role?
Yeah, I've actually been lucky enough to speak to Bernard Judge via Skype a couple of times because he's in his 80s now, but still. He's still real life, and to talk to somebody and to have that dialogue with somebody that you're playing or you're going to play or perceive on camera, on screen is huge, and Bernard's a bit of a joker. He's a lovely, lovely guy. He's still got it. And he just said to me, good luck. And in like a tongue little wink. And, but there's definitely a different type and greater responsibility when you're portraying a real life person, for sure. Yeah, but that's why we do it. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing that when it comes out. Your show. When does your show with Simon? When's that? It's called Truth Seekers. It's due out sometime this year, but again, with everything that's going on, it might be pushed. I don't know. But it's due. It's slated to be released in 2020. So okay, it would be cool. So what is it? Is everything shot on that series? Yeah, that's all wrapped now. It's a Peg and Frost collaboration. Yeah, I do like that too. they are quite popular, aren't they?
Yes,
and
Cornetto trilogy is a great trilogy.
And this is very much the same in terms much as those two mould. And so I don't think that the Peg and Frost fan base will be disappointed, because it's a wonderful show and I can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, Amazon. I've got Amazon Prime as well, so that's cool. Streaming services have been a bit of a godsend recently. I bought Disney Plus. I got in there when they were offering £50 for a year.
How good value is that? Yeah,
it's great value. It is great value. I've been able to watch. Aside from other things on there, but I've been able to watch the entire 90s series of Spider-Man again.
Yes.
It's a great series. It really is.
Mate, I actually just watched recently, the last week, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse for the first time. I was very late to that party. But I grew up on 70s Spider-Man. I grew up on the TV show with Nicholas Hammond. And I mean, to see how it's evolved and stuff was amazing. It was just so fresh, and it was just, you couldn't stop watching it. It was incredible, and I think they're going to do another one. And they just need to do like a real life now, multi Spider-Verse, which is with Maguire, with Garfield, and with Holland. And I know they've in the Morbius trailer there was a little, maybe a little bit of a clue. But if they brought all of them together in a Spider-Verse, it would, I mean, just take my money. It would be amazing. Yeah, it would be incredible.
There is a rumor, and apparently, I watch Emergency Awesome on YouTube. And apparently that Spider-Man was the one that Sony had the rights to, so they're going to change that with the actual film when the film comes out. Because they obviously own the Spider-Man. They own the game studio that made the Sony that made the Spider-Man game, the really popular PlayStation 4 game. So they had they were allowed to use that suit because they also made that film with Sam Raimi, who's an incredible filmmaker.
Wow, agreed.
Yeah, he is. I absolutely adore. I like, still to this day, I absolutely adore Spider-Man 2, and the first two films on with Sam Raimi's trilogy. I wasn't too much of a fan of Spider-Man 3, but yeah, I still adore the trilogy.
I've read that it's kind of the kind of benchmark for any superhero movie, Spider-Man 2, for for all of its sort of incredible sort of technical as well as character building and universe building. It was like, it's now looked upon as the benchmark for anything to follow. So it's just such a great character, Spider-Man, isn't he? I love him.
He is. Yeah, I've got on my desk.
Fan.
I am too on my desk. You can't see them because it's on my desk and it's like behind here. But I've got a Spider-Man. You know, all those phone holders that holds my phone when it's charging. I've got one of those. I've got a Spider-Man maquette, statuette thing. I love Spider-Man. It's a brilliant.
Tell me if you've got a games console, you've got the Spider-Man sort of skin all over you. My friend bought a Spider-Man PS4, and it's incredible.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I love the character. I think he was probably one of the first ones that I've read as a child in comic books. But yeah, absolutely.
First set of pajamas I had, for sure. As a hand-me-down, I'll add.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, I've got Spider-Man pajamas.
I've got there's a company called Morph Suits. They sent me a Spider-Man suit. Halloween costume, and it's and it zips at the back, and like it's the full suit. It's brilliant. Yeah.
Shout out to them for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Brilliant company. Morph Suits. Anyway, I will let you go. This has been incredible. Thanks very much, Mike. You look after yourself, and I look forward to seeing everything. Seeing everything. Take care. Bye.
Please stay safe. Bye-bye.
You too. Stay safe. Bye, mate.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for more content next time.
You didn't choose your opponent wisely.
Have a lovely stay.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palma, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you around Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.